Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have another mini episode, this time with me and Tiffany.
Hello.
And we are talking all things travel, in our opinions, the places that we have been, that we enjoyed, and the places we want to go.
Yes.
So Tiffany, take it away.
For sure. So this kind of podcast came about because a few weeks ago, I found out that there were cheap trips to Ireland. So I sent a text to ask if anybody wanted to go. And of course, Danielle was on board. So this podcast was going to be me and Danielle convincing our husbands to take us to Ireland. But that got to be really stressful because I was planning a 7-day trip to Ireland that wasn't going to happen. So we just worked it out to where you're going to talk about our favorite places, where we want to go, still travel related. But, not as stressful.
Yeah.
So
if you are wondering, the flights to Ireland were super cheap. What was it? During the week of Thanksgiving or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was
it's probably terrible weather there at that point.
I'm sure.
I mean,
it's worth it. Yeah. It's a cheap flight. I will always book a cheap flight.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Starting with our favorite places, we'll kind of go back and forth. I'll talk about mine, Danielle will talk about hers, and then we'll go from there. So, top favorite place I've been was Maui. Definitely was a wow factor. And it was really surprising for me because I don't really like the beach. So I was like, okay, we're going to go to Maui.
Okay, so it's kind of weird. If you're from our area and you're used to the 30A beaches, you're not going to be impressed with the Hawaiian beaches.
Right.
Because they don't have that white sand. It's all the volcanic ash.
Yes.
It's kind of not dirty looking, but it was really soft sand, right? But it just doesn't, it doesn't look like,
right.
I don't know.
It doesn't look like you would expect a beach to look.
Yeah.
But also there's so much more than just the beaches. We went on our honeymoon and honestly, we spent the week on the middle of the island. And we rented a Jeep and just drove around. We would pick a different part of the island. And we'd go through and just drive and see what we found. So really we only spent 1 day at the beach. I would say we went down the coast and saw some beaches. And there were other times, specifically we went on the road to Hana. There were some different beach areas, the Black Sand Beach and stuff like that. But we didn't go lay out at the beach. It was definitely much more of an adventure vacation than a relaxing vacation. Also, one thing I want to say that if you ever go, you should go to Mama's Fish House on Maui. It was a little expensive, and honestly, I'm not a big fish person, but it was definitely worth it. Devin was very upset that I booked that as our first night there dinner.
Why?
Because he said it was so good that it let him down for the rest of the trip because none of the food was as good. Okay. So save it for your last night.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't remember.
It's kind of hard because you don't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
But then it kind of lets you down. You're like, oh, I wish I would have ended my trip feeling the way I did when I did that thing.
Y'all don't think about going back?
Yeah, all the time. I honestly just looked in Southwest right now. I think it ends today. It's doing a sale, so you're probably gonna miss this if you're watching it. But they're doing a sale to Hawaii where you can fly there for 30% off.
Oh my gosh!
But it was still $600 from New Orleans, or $600 for both of us, which isn't bad.
Round trip?
No.
Oh, okay. I was
wait. Yes, yeah. It was so 380 something. So maybe it was closer to 700.
Dude, that's so cheap. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Dang. Okay. Well, my number one place, or the number one slot on my list is also in Hawaii, but we did not go to Maui. We went to Oahu, and actually we've been twice now at this point.
Yes, because y'all just recently went.
Yeah, we just got back because we were taking my best friend's maternity photos, and actually that's why we went there to begin with, was to visit her. They are stationed there right now, and they have a big enough house to where we can stay there with them. So this is the cheapest we'll ever be able to go. So we've been there twice now. The first time, I think we did a lot more adventurous stuff.
Yeah, because y'all went and did a lot of different tours and things like that.
Yeah, we did we didn't do a bunch of tours per se, but we did a lot of touristy stuff.
Yes.
Oh, we did do a tour. Okay, so we did the first time we went, we did surfing lessons in Waikiki, and that was awesome. We did it with I think it was Stoke Drift is what it was called, and I really liked our guide, our
Instructor,
teacher, our
yeah.
instructor. Yeah, that's the word. He was great. And it was me and Dylan together, and it was just like a private lesson, like just us two and him. And he was like super nice, and he's like, yeah, you're definitely gonna get up. We're not gonna be done with our lesson until you like get up and like ride a wave.
Cool.
Yeah. And he was very helpful. He would like, he would tell us like to paddle, but he would also like give us a push.
Right.
So he's like, I'm gonna make this a good experience for you. And of course, Dylan got up like super easy the first time. It took me a little while, and then like it's so tiring. You don't realize he had to.
I mean, all the muscles that you're using.
And he's on his surfboard, right? Our instructor, and he's on his stomach paddling, and he has both of his feet at the front of me and Dylan's surfboards, and he's paddling us in because we're so dang tired, and he's using his dang feet and
to hold you on.
Yes, I'm like,
that's wild.
So that was a great time. We also did the Kualoa Ranch tour.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
We did it in like a Jeep, and that's Kualoa Ranch is like where they filmed like was it all the Jurassic Park movies? A lot of them.
I know a lot
Multiple
of them. It's
Jurassic
like
Park
known
movies.
for Jurassic Park.
Yes.
So.
And King Kong, and I forget what other movies. Tons of movies were filmed in Kualoa Ranch. It's like the big like green like valley part.
Right.
Like it's beautiful. And that was fun. You know how like when you do a tour, the tour guide kind of makes it or breaks it, and we had a really good tour guide too. It was really cool. So that was super fun. Let's see. Oh, we also did like the North Shore is like known for like their food trucks, and they have like the garlic shrimp and rice plates there are like a huge thing. Like everything you get just like it like comes with rice.
Yeah.
And so Dylan was in heaven because he's like obsessed with rice. Like he has to have rice with everything. And that rice I do love. I can never make rice as good as that.
Me neither.
We did the Dole Pineapple Farm the first time we were there. Yes. And that was really cool. Pineapples do not grow the way that you think that they grow. Just going to throw that out there.
They do not. It's kind of wild.
And we did a coffee farm. We didn't do like a tour, but like we walked around it. We did went to the coffee farm this last time around, which was really cool. And then, we did the farmer's market in Waikiki this other time around, and that was really cool. It was huge.
Yes.
Like huge. Dylan got him some air plants to take back, because you can take back air plants because there's no soil.
Because there's no soil, right? We can't take back plants that
have like
the soil.
Yeah, they're very strict on what you can bring in and out of there, which makes sense. It's fair.
It's like cool, like how, I don't know, because when you think about like things to do, like you're always looking for like the touristy thing, but like the local things like the farmer's market.
Yeah.
And like honestly, when we went, there was one little like supermarket that they did like plate lunches on Friday and Saturday. And like it was just like the coolest thing and like one of the most funnest things to just go and be a local for a while, you know?
I did like how we did the very touristy stuff the first time we went, and then this time we did like less touristy. We like ate at we ate dinner at just one of the restaurants or whatever, like while the sun was setting, got to watch the sunset. It was it was so nice. Yeah, so Hawaii, I mean, if y'all are thinking about a place to go,
obviously it's a top pick.
And I heard like, was it you that told me that like, or somebody told me flying in between the islands, it's like what, like $70 or something?
So
like,
I think it's cheaper, but I don't think, somebody told me that like you do it on a helicopter, like it's not like a plane.
Interesting.
I think.
Maybe I think Southwest has inter-island travel. I want to say.
Yes, they probably do because they fly to multiple islands.
I don't mind. But anyway, yeah, Hawaii for sure. All right, Tiffany, what's your second pick?
My second pick is Salt Lake City. We went, I guess it was last year, I think. And honestly,
last October, right?
Yes, last October. Because that's when, we did a lot of traveling last October. But it was like we stayed like a little outside of the city, and we didn't do a lot of like in the city stuff. Because honestly, it's a lot more Mormon than I realized.
Yeah. I went there on a Sunday one time, and it is dead.
Yes.
The downtown area.
Right.
Like, it's the opposite of New York City.
Yeah. Well, there's no people.
Yeah. None.
So that was like a little weird. Like everywhere we went, it was like, this is owned by the Church of Latter-day Saints. So like we did a lot of just other stuff. We like did some hiking. But it was like super laid back in the city. Like we never got into traffic driving through red lights, driving through downtown, or like even on the interstate. Like, there was no traffic. Like, everybody was super chill. So it was like a nice laid back vacation, but like we still did a few things. We went to Park City, which was really fun. It was kind of like Gatlinburg-y. Like, you know, it's kind of like one road, or it's multiple roads, but like with all the
like
different
a strip.
shops, and stuff. And then we went to this national forest that was up there, which was kind of cool. Like, there were some different stops we could make with like lakes, or there was one that was like a cave. We didn't go in it, but like it was cool that they had it. And then we went to Antelope Island, which was a little bit of a drive, but I think it was still like under an hour.
There's an island in Utah?
Yes and no. It's like off of the Great Salt Lake. It's just like a little, like, it's not quite an island. It's like almost like a peninsula kind of thing.
Okay.
But like the Great Salt Lake when we went was receded back. Like, they were going through a drought, and so like you could see, like, there was literally a boat dock, and all of the boats were like on the ground because like there was no water there. So it was like really wild to see that, because like you don't ever think about the things that happen, or you know,
like on a regular basis. Like, oh, this is just life. Like, oh, the Great Salt Lake just happens to be
not there
right now.
There were also a lot of buffalo on the island, which was like kind of cool. Like a lot of buffalo. You drive past and see them. But definitely like a good mix of a vacation between like relaxing and still active doing things.
And I bet it was gorgeous.
It was beautiful.
I do want to go there.
I tried to take pictures, but I'm not very good at taking pictures.
I was going to say, I really feel like I didn't see any pictures from that trip from y'all.
They're blurry, so I'll show them to you if you want.
But yeah, that's on my list. I think I didn't put it as like a place I want to go because I didn't want to like do so many dang repeats. I think I already repeated yours. Number 2 on my list for places that I have traveled to was London, and that is where me and Dylan went for our honeymoon, and that was just really wild. Like, that was the first time either of us had been to Europe. I was gonna say out of the country, but both of us have been to like Mexico, like Central America.
Right.
But yeah, so we went there for, I want to say it was like a week. My biggest advice for traveling comes from this trip because we had a layover. So we flew from here to Atlanta, and then we were going to fly from Atlanta to London. And we flew from here to Atlanta, and I did not realize that our layover was less than an hour. It was only 50 minutes.
Oh.
And Atlanta is the biggest airport in the world. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty positive. Atlanta is the biggest airport in the world.
Well, they have all like those trains.
Yeah. And we had to go from Concourse B to Concourse F. Concourse F is the international concourse. And our plane landed late. So,
so you didn't even have the full 50 minutes.
No, we had no buffer time. And of course we get there, and what are they doing? Shutting the door, which it didn't cut as close as it seemed, because they only shut the door after the plane has left the gate.
Oh.
So like, it wasn't like, oh, they just needed to open the door and let us in. Like, the plane had already left the gate.
Gone.
But it was still devastating just watching them close the door, and I just like dropped to my knees and bawled my eyes out. And this is like, Dylan just married me, and he's like, what did I get myself into? But, so my big advice is like, anytime you're traveling and you know you have a layover, just look and make sure that you have a nice buffer time for layover. Like, at this point, I would rather a 5-hour layover than a layover that is less than an hour.
Well, because like, I mean, you obviously still went. It's your number 2 place, but like, how long did you have to wait for another plane?
They put us up in a really nice hotel, and then I think it was like the next, I can't remember this next morning. I think it was the next morning we ended up like getting a flight, but we stayed for, I think there was one other flight that was leaving that night, and so we were on standby, but it was full, so we didn't make that one. But yeah, the next morning I believe we ended up getting out, but we had a photo shoot scheduled, which we had to push back, which she was super sweet about. Like, she was like, yeah, we'll just do the next day, and I was like, oh, thank goodness.
Right.
But yeah, so Also, my advice for traveling, like when you do go to places, like if you can get like professional photo shoot there, like, I mean, if you and Devin had gotten professional photos in Salt Lake, y'all like could have had like some great photos of y'all like in the mountains or like something like that. But,
yes.
But so we did that. We did, of course, we had to go to King's Cross Station because I'm like the biggest Harry Potter fan. And we did the photos of like going through platform 9 3/4. We saw Kensington Palace, and Hyde Park is like right outside of that. So we walked through the park and like walked through the palace and stuff. And they had like some like cool like Princess Diana, like I think they had a lot of her like clothes. Like I remember like a lot of it is blurry or like foggy, but
in your memory,
in my memory. We went to St. Paul's Cathedral and we walked up the 528 steps like to get that view. And as we're walking up there, I remember like people like passing us and like hyperventilating, like coming back down because they're like, it's too high, it's too, because it got kind of tight.
Towards the top.
Yeah. And I remember being like, oh, like, what are we doing?
What did I sign myself up for?
But we got up there and the view was totally worth it. We had tea at the Victoria and Albert Museum. I think we had like a honey lavender tea or something we got was honey lavender. It might have been a scone. And then just like regular tea. Yeah, it might have been both. I don't know. And then we went to Westminster Abbey, which was really awesome. The only downside was back then, Westminster Abbey is like, I guess right across from like Big Ben, or I just remember it being like kind of close. But anyway, Big Ben is the big clock tower.
Right.
And it had scaffolding like all over it and it wasn't working. So like we didn't get to hear it or like anything like that.
Or really see it because like
it
was under construction.
Yeah. So that was kind of a bummer. And the weather was so bad that they didn't do, like Buckingham Palace has like a changing of the guards kind of like ceremony that they do. But the weather was bad, so they didn't do that. So we didn't get to catch that either. But I love just like seeing some of the places like in movies like About Time. So, you know the station that they always like go through in the mornings, they're leaving for work, they go. So we went to that station and like took, and it was like pretty much empty. Like, so we just took some photos there and like just kind of saw it and was like, wow, this is cool. This is like where they filmed this.
Right.
Like, so,
to be like in the same spot.
Right. Exactly. So that was really cool. And then we walked down like Notting Hill with all the like different color house, like pretty like pastel colored houses and stuff. So yeah, it was a really good time. We I'm trying to think. We lost a day, and then the last day there it was like snowing and it was like kind of miserably cold. So we kind of stayed in that whole day too. March, it's like I love the weather here in March, but if we're traveling kind of anywhere else in March, the weather kind of sucks. So like for all of our like anniversary trips, the weather's probably not going to be the best, but because of that, we get cheaper prices.
Right. So, I mean, you get to go more places.
Right.
Even if you don't get to see it, you know, best time of year.
London in March. I mean, I think it's always dreary in London, so, like, it's probably not that bad. But it was cold. So if you don't like cold, I wouldn't go in March.
March is not the time.
No. All right, and then on to Tiffany's number 3.
Yes, my number 3. So, like I said, a lot of traveling last October. My family went to a trip to Niagara Falls. So that would probably be, like, we didn't really do a lot of in Buffalo, but that would probably be, like, my top 3 places of, like, something I've seen. It was, like, breathtaking to see it. And honestly, we did this, like, tour. It was called like Caves of the Winds or something like that. It was kind of sketch because we like rode an elevator down. They gave us like ponchos and then we literally like walked on this like wooden boardwalk, like literally like underneath the waterfall. So it was very crazy. Like there's pictures and like there's one little area you can go in where like there's water from the waterfall falling on you.
That's crazy.
It felt like it wasn't supposed to be real, like we weren't supposed to be there.
That does sound
but
sketch.
It was like really, really beautiful.
Did y'all do a boat tour?
We didn't do a boat tour. We tried to, but I think we missed, like we'd gotten in and then we were running late because that's how we do. And I think we missed it by like 5 minutes. So we were only going to be there one day. We were leaving to drive the next day. So we didn't get to go on the boat tour. Which is how we ended up on the Caves of the Winds tour, which was, I feel like, probably
it's
cooler.
A good trade-off.
Yeah. It was like, it was not scary, but it was just like I can't believe that they actually let people here.
Yeah.
And it's like this little wooden boardwalk that looks like it could just fall away at any moment. So, you know, I guess a little scary.
Oh my gosh.
But there's also like a super large park that you can walk around in, which is pretty cool. And then there's a lot of restaurants. There's kind of like a little, almost like downtown area nearby.
Really?
So there's like a lot of restaurants that you can eat there. And, you know, they have like ice cream, coffee shops, things like that.
They have like a coffee shop like overlooking the falls. That would just be like ideal. Like, let me just sit here, read my book, drink my coffee while I like look out on a waterfall.
Well, it would probably have to be like on the Canadian side because the falls, like the town is like behind them. Okay. Because they kind of come down, which is another like plus. You can walk across the border to Canada.
If you have a passport, huh?
If you have a passport, yes. So that was cool. It's a pretty long walk. But
oh really?
Yeah, it's a pretty long walk, and then like honestly, not that like it was a letdown, but it was like very touristy. Like where we were, like it was like definitely like the strips, all the lights, all the things.
You didn't get like the Canada feel.
No, yeah. It was like definitely very. I keep comparing things to Gatlinburg, but like, you know, like at Gatlinburg when it's dark and like there's all the mini golf and the ice cream, like that's what it was like.
Yeah.
But still cool. You know.
Yeah, so y'all did walk over.
We did. Okay. We were only there for like 30 minutes because it was like midnight, but we did walk over. Yeah. So
you've walked into Canada before. Yes. That's kind of wild to be able to say.
I know.
I walked to Canada.
Right. And especially like being in Louisiana, people be like, okay, like, what's wrong with you?
I don't believe you.
What is your number 3?
My number
top
3
place?
is New York City, which me and Dylan went to in March.
Yep.
That's like the one time where like I can really slip a trip by Dylan because it's like, we're celebrating our anniversary. Like we have to like, you know, we have to celebrate our anniversary, and what better way to do it than with a trip?
Than to travel.
March in New York is the off season because, or they call it the shoulder season, I think, because there's like technically no off season. Like,
oh, I guess because it's kind of like more city. So
yeah. But the weather is pretty miserable. It was like rainy or at least overcast like the whole time that we were there. Very cold, and it even snowed like the morning that we were supposed to leave. Like there was like a storm coming in, and we were like, are we gonna be able to fly out? Like, but it was awesome. We still had some great stuff planned that didn't have to do with the weather per se. There were some parts like that were affected by it. But what we did was a lot of people tell you like don't stay near Times Square, like it's going to be more expensive and just really, really crowded. And we were just a few blocks off Times Square, and I feel like where we stayed, I can't remember what it was called, but where we stayed, it was very nice and like reasonably priced, and it was close to like a subway station.
Well, probably in the shoulder season, you know.
That's true. That might be
why.
Could have affected that. Might be why. But I liked where we stayed. And then, you know, of course, we had to visit the Apple store for Dylan and the Nike store. Well, for me and Dylan, but Apple store, the Nike store. We ate at Ellen's Stardust Diner. So the place that we stayed at, when we looked out our hotel window, we could see Ellen's Stardust Diner, which is a diner. And
that's the one where y'all
they
sat
sing
across from
and
each
dance.
other.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember Dylan talking about it when y'all came back.
Yeah, they sing like Broadway like songs, and they're dancing, and they're like standing on like in between the like there were like platforms like in between the tables, and there was like and there was like confetti, and like it was a whole show.
A whole production.
It was awesome, but it really threw Dylan for a loop because I didn't properly mentally prepare him, because I didn't really exactly know what to expect. I just knew everyone was like, oh, eat here, eat here, eat here. But it's like everywhere in New York, everything is so small because you're just squeezing so everything into the city, right? And so like they literally had to like move the table out so that I could sit, like get into my seat and then move the table back and like put Dylan, and then we're like right next to the people next to us. So like Dylan's like, this is not my jam at all whatsoever. But the couple next to us, they were so sweet. We ended up chatting with them. So like I like that they do that. Like I like that you're like forced to be near people, because then you can have experiences like that. So we did that. We did the Color Factory.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like a little museum where you like go into different like colored rooms and you take these like fun selfies, and they have like little like activities for you to do. It's like a big kind of like selfie museum, I would say, but it's really cool.
It is cool, and like you get like little treats.
Yeah, they had like macarons
yeah.
and taffy and ice cream, and I'd like added on the little package where we had like a little, it was like if you're celebrating something, you get like a little pin and you can like write what you're celebrating, little like the colored sunglasses and a little party hat. So that was like, that made it extra special. And we did it right when they opened up, and there was like hardly anybody in there.
Really?
Yeah. We were the only people there at the very beginning. By the time we were leaving, there was a ton of people. So I recommend going like first thing.
Yeah.
Like we were waiting outside the doors for them to unlock them.
But I mean, that's also good because,
Yeah.
like you said, like because it's kind of hard. Like when you're there, we went to
you
one
have
in
to
Houston.
share the space with everyone. Yeah,
And
but
there's,
we
like, a
had
lot
the
of
rooms all to
people.
ourselves, basically.
Right.
Like
So that's
that,
pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. We did the top of the rock, the Empire State Building, and the One World Observatory. So those are all like skyscrapers, like that you can like go on and get the view. I think we decided that our favorite view is top of the rock. Just because you can see buildings like the Empire State Building.
Right.
Like, you're not on it, you can see the Empire State Building. Whereas, like, top of the rock's not a very impressive building to, like, look at. So it's, like, better to be on top of it. And there was no line to get up there, no line to get up to the Empire State Building. When we got up there, though, it was storming, but we did it at night. And so it just was kind of cool. Like,
to see that.
Yeah.
Right.
And the One World Observatory, we waited until the last day, and there was zero visibility. There was no line.
No.
Yeah, that's why there was no line. There was zero visibility. We got to the very top, and I'm glad we saved that one because I really just wanted to go up to say that I've been to the tallest building in North America. Like, I've been to the top of the tallest building in North America. So the view wasn't really what I was like super concerned about. But every step of the way, like once we got to one elevator, they're like, "You are aware of our zero visibility today." And I'm like, yes.
I'm sure that they have to like tell people.
But like it was probably like 5 times like someone stopped us and was like, "You're aware of the zero visibility?" So the thing was too is we did a sightseeing pass, which you can buy these passes that include like if you're into the touristy stuff.
Okay, I remember you talking about it.
Yeah.
It like includes all of it.
Yes.
It's like a kind of discounted rate, right?
Yeah. And we did like a hop on, hop off bus tour. We did like the wax museum. What's that one called? Madame Tussauds or something like that.
Yeah.
We did things that like we wouldn't normally have done because we had the pass, which I really liked. And then we got to do all the things that we planned on doing anyway. But so the reason we went to the One World Observatory was because it's already included.
Right. So if you're not paying any extra.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I wasn't that worried about the zero visibility because I wasn't paying any extra. This was already included. It was the last day we were there.
Right.
So we got to the top and like you look out the windows and it's white. Like that's literally all you see. But we got like those little pressed pennies. Like you didn't crank it. This was like a electric one.
Anymore, I'm sure.
I know they don't. We did a tour in St. Patrick's Cathedral. Our favorite food was the like lamb from like the food trucks. So I would always get like the gyros, but Dylan got like a lamb and rice plate. Go figure.
You're right.
And that was like our favorite. Plus, every night in our hotel, like when we came back to the hotel, we would go to the bar and order lobster, macaroni and cheese, and it was so good.
Really?
Yes. Well, Bree turned us on to it. And so like now everywhere we go, we look and see if there's like lobster, macaroni and cheese. Wherever me and Dylan went when we went to LA or Anaheim for the book conference, we ordered lobster, mac and cheese like I think both nights that we were there.
Really?
So it's become a thing now.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta get your lobster mac and cheese.
Exactly. It was delicious. So, I mean, you just gotta stick with what you know is good. We also did a Central Park bike tour, which I'm torn because it was a great tour. But Central Park in March is just really not that pretty. Like, everything is dead. If you just wait a few more weeks, like, everything's going to be more expensive. But also, like, the cherry blossoms will be blooming.
Yeah, you'll get to see
like
a little bit more.
It was still a great tour. And if your only option is to go during March, I still would do it. If you, like, especially if you don't think you're going to go back to, like, New York City. If you're like, this is my one chance, I would definitely do a bike tour in Central Park. That was really cool. We tried different pizzas. We had Prince's Pizza, which is not the traditional, like, thin crust, like, New York style pizza. And it had teeny tiny little pepperonis on it.
Really?
And it was so good. The line is, like, really long, but it goes by pretty fast. But yeah, it's a popular one. Joe's Pizza was a popular place, and that was in like the one that we went to was near or in Times Square, and that line wasn't very long, but that was the more traditional, like thin, like you could fold it and like, I don't know, cartoon style pizza. I always think of like cartoon pizza, like
yeah, because it's like so like the slices they're
like
big, so
and
it's like kind of comical to try and eat it, you know?
Yeah, and it was really good. I loved both of them. Dylan, you know, I don't think it takes a lot to impress Dylan, honestly. He was like, it's just pizza. Like, it's fine. Like, but it's so good. And then you got to get New York bagels because bagels are, like, boiled and, like, New York water is different. So, like, the New York bagels are different. So, we got bagels at Liberty Bagels, and that was good. I got a rainbow one with cake batter, cream cheese. That was really good. Loved that. I had lots of chocolate croissants. I was like, man, we did so much stuff.
I know. I was like looking at this list and I was like,
we did a Liberty cruise. So instead of going to the Statue of Liberty, we just did the cruise like by it.
Yes, I did one of those whenever I was in New York. So
I like that.
Cool.
I think, and I've been to the Statue of Liberty. I think I've even been in it, and I preferred the cruise. Like, because you get right there. When you're so close, you have to like look up, and then you can't like really see it. And like, I mean, the view from it, from what I remember, like, was cool, but, like, I liked the cruise. It was a better experience. We did, the one Broadway show we did was Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and that was epic. Like, there was so much more, it was so much more magical than I thought it would be. Like, it was like a magic show, too, because I was like, wait, how did they just do that?
Right. I mean, like, they figure out all the things. Like,
yeah. And I splurged by getting us kind of close, and I don't regret that at all. We also did a potion making class one night.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember y'all talking about that.
So that was cool, but also weird. Like, worth it, but weird. And we watched through MoMA. That was pretty cool. We got to see the like legit like Vincent Van Gogh Starry Night. Like, and it was wild. There's like huge crowds around it.
Yeah.
And you just like, they having to like shuffle people out, and like they're like back up.
Right.
And like, so but that was awesome. And then there was a ton of like Claude Monet's, like they had a whole room of like his like water lilies and stuff. So like, and they're big, so that was really cool.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, to be able to like say that you've seen that, you know, and
I know. I'm like, I've seen the original.
Right.
Well, and of course I had to go to the Strand bookstore, which if you are into books, you know, that's like a very popular bookstore in New York. And Taylor Swift references that bookstore, like I think in her songs. I don't know which ones, but that's just like what I have in my brain.
That's what I'm thinking about.
And then we went and saw the Friends apartment building. And like that's just like where they, like if you watch Friends, the outside shot of like the apartments, that is like where we went.
Right.
So that was really awesome. And yeah, we did so much. I did a lot of planning with that. Like I literally had an itinerary, which is not really like me.
Right, not your travel style.
Right, but in order to get Dylan on board, that's what I had to do. But the sightseeing pass, if you go anywhere that has like sightseeing passes available, I would totally do that. I think there's also ones called like Go City or something like that. Because that's what we did for London. We did that in London too, so I highly recommend that for if you're into the touristy stuff.
Yes.
Like if like it probably wouldn't have worked for y'all in Maui because y'all wanted to do more like exploring like local type stuff.
We did like some touristy stuff. Like we went and did a luau and stuff like that. But I don't know. Devin is definitely more of like a go-doer. Like he wants to like.
Yeah. And kind of like go with the flow and be like, oh, if someone tells us like, oh, you should go eat lunch here. Like he'll like listen to them and be like, yeah, let's like go there. Like
that's literally what happened when we were in Maui. Like we were in, I don't know, this little outdoor store, and the guy that was working, he was like, oh, y'all should definitely like drive the rest of the circle. Like when you get to Hana, you're supposed to turn around and drive back. He's like, but y'all should, like if you have a car, just keep going. And I was like, okay. So Devin's like, yeah, we're going to do that. No big deal. I wish I would have been prepared a little bit more for that because there was like literally nothing like on that side of the island or that side of the mountain. Like nothing. We passed maybe like 2 cars and it was like a 2.5 to 3 hour trip. And like the sun was going down. Yeah, it was a little
What was
scary.
the gas situation? Did y'all have enough?
I think we did have enough.
I mean, like,
I think we did have enough.
Clearly, because you got back.
But it was like, I was like, okay, well, maybe we're going to do some more research before we just listen to strangers.
Yeah, or just
time.
like be like, oh, how long does that take?
Yes, ask more questions, inquire.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think those types of passes would work for like you and Devin.
Yeah.
But if you're into that touristy stuff, which I am, and so is Dylan, then that's the way to go for sure.
For sure.
All right, so we talked forever about the places we have been. This probably will be faster because we haven't been here, so we don't know how to talk about these forever. But places we want to go, our top 3 places. So Tiffany, start us off.
So top place I want to go, just because it's kind of realistic, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of driving and traveling when I was a kid, but I haven't been like out that way. So I want to definitely get out that way more and kind of explore some. Obviously the Grand Canyon, and then there's this, I see it all the time. It's like that orange sandstone. I think it's called Antelope Canyon.
Is it the one where it like kind of goes like in a? What am I imagining? So. Like there's like something,
and it's like almost like looks like you can see the different like layers and the colors.
Yeah. Is that not Sedona, or is Sedona more of like the rock climbing?
I honestly don't know,
but
I did
Arizona.
Research.
We know it's Arizona.
Yes, right, somewhere in Arizona.
Yeah.
So I just haven't been out that way much, and just want to explore. Sounds cool. I've been to Arizona.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I want to go there. I want to say I've literally physically been in Arizona,
right?
But like I've not vacationed there or seen the Grand Canyon or anything like that. I would love to do that as well. A lot of places that you put, I was like, yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I gotta make up some other places.
Right. My second place is Greece, definitely because the views of the water and hello, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Like,
I've never seen that movie.
You've never seen that movie? You've got to watch it. Well, in that movie, they go to Greece. So like, I don't know, just seeing that look and just the architecture and stuff like that just looks pretty.
Yeah.
And
their food's
go.
delicious.
Yes, for sure.
You know, that's on Declan's list.
Really?
Yes.
Is that, right after Ireland?
Yeah, actually, literally.
And then third place, Vermont and New Hampshire. I've actually been briefly on a trip with my family. The same trip we went to Niagara Falls. My family's a little bit crazy, so we flew into Buffalo and then we drove through New York, Vermont, and New Hampshire and into Boston and flew home in 4 days. So we didn't really get to see a lot of the things that were there. We did a lot of driving because my mom and my aunt wanted to see the leaves change.
Yes.
So that was kind of the goal of our trip.
That is 100% on my bucket list.
Yes. I mean, it was beautiful there. The landscape was gorgeous. So I've been, but I'd love to go back and really get to explore.
And maybe do fall things. Cause all those towns have little fall festivals and things like that. And did y'all did apple picking, huh?
We did.
Okay.
So we did a few things. We did apple picking. We did this candy factory. It wasn't really a factory. It was kind of like my mom, I think, thought it was going to be a factory, but it was this little building, and we went in and made a chocolate bar.
Oh,
it was
cute.
It was kind of fun, to do with my whole family. So we did a few little things, and obviously we stopped and ate and things along the way.
But more driving, doing those scenic drives.
Right.
And,
we did a lot of scenic drives, drove a lot of scenic highways. So I'd just love to be in the cities a little bit more and get to see what they have to offer.
That's my number one. I said piggybacking off of Tiffany's Vermont and New Hampshire.
Yes.
I want to do New England during leaf peeping season.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in September, but it was right before.
Right.
I barely missed it. I had to be there for another reason. And so it was unrelated to, it wasn't let's go and oh man, we planned it too early. It was we're going to be here. And it's too early. Yeah. And then, okay, so there's this place, I don't know if you've seen, but there's a place called Sleepy Hollow Farm in Vermont. And it has if you see these picturesque, it's a winding road, and I think you can see maybe a chapel or something, but there's it's all over Instagram, but that is it's called Sleepy Hollow Farm, and it's where you can get the most picturesque fall New England photos, and so I specifically want to go to that spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's gorgeous, and I want to do a bunch of scenic drives too. It's just so pretty. I just love it. I want to go there.
It is.
And then my number 2 is Scotland/Ireland. I want to do like both like in a trip. I think that would be cool, but that would have to be like probably 2 weeks long. But maybe not. Maybe it could be like a 10-day thing.
Yeah, you could probably do 10 days.
Yeah.
You just would probably have to like cut some things
out.
You know, like just pick and choose.
Oh, when I was 15 and an idiot, I passed up a free trip, like free because I was only 15. So my parents would pay for it. So a free trip to Ireland with my mom and grandma.
The things we do when we're young,
right?
You know?
Like, I'm like, why? Like, so stupid. So, ever since then, I have regretted that, and I definitely want to go. And Declan, that's like his number one place that he wants to go. And me and Dylan want to take him, like, when he's a little bit older and he can like remember it and appreciate it. But yeah, we found out that flights around Thanksgiving are very cheap, and I'm just saying he's out of school during that week.
Has to take off minimal time.
Yeah, and yeah, ideally though, I would do like a week in Scotland, a week in Ireland. There's like, I just want to see so many of the stuff. And then like, and one of my best friends, she was born and lived in Scotland until she was 14. So I'm like, I know I could go to her and be like, okay,
tell me what to do.
I need to do?
Yeah, why do I pass up? What do I do? Make my time worth it.
Right, exactly. And then number 3, I literally didn't pick a third one because I said that there's so many places that I do want to go. So my third one is I just would love to be able to like check off being in like every state in the United States. I think that would be so cool. How does that qualify for me? I think for me, if I go to the bathroom in that state, I think it counts.
Yes, because there's much discussion about what qualifies.
Right, apparently, yeah. Is it just driving through? Like, so what if you have a layover in like
in that place?
Right, yeah.
They've decided that if you eat a meal or if you stay overnight, it counts.
Okay, that's fair.
So that's the stipulations, because we've had this discussion because like that's kind of within my family. My uncle has traveled a lot, and he's like trying to mark off all 50 states. And so when we were taking this big road trip kind of with my family, they were like, okay, well, does it count if we just drive through? Like, what is the stipulation for it to count that we've been there? So that's what they said. If you eat a meal or sleep overnight.
I think I would even count driving through, honestly.
I would too. Like, especially if you're
because
there. Like,
I have
driving
been there
for like 2 hours.
I have physically.
Yeah.
Maybe I would say you'd have to step foot onto it.
I could see that.
That might be, but like, you know, if I don't know, like I've driven through Nebraska. I really don't care to go to Nebraska. Actually, I think Lynn Painter, which is one of my favorite authors, like lives in Nebraska, so she probably would have an event, like a signing event there, and I would go.
Yeah, you'd go.
So even then, I don't know, but like, you know, if there was, I forget, I did like a road trip like with my mom and brother and grandma. Like 10 years ago, and there was one place that we drove through and it just straight smelled like cow poo, and I was like, I really don't care to come back to this place.
I would not like to stop here.
Yeah.
I don't want to count it on the list.
I'm like, if I drove through it, sure. But I think one of the hardest ones to get for that will be Alaska.
Yeah.
Because you can't just like drive through that.
No.
That's like a legit trip.
You could, like, my parents went on an Alaskan cruise, which like they said they enjoyed, and like, you know, it marks it off the list. But
like, were they on the mainland, or they just in the waters of Alaska?
So I think they did. I don't remember where they like docked out of, because it was probably right after we got married.
I think
maybe,
isn't that, or Oregon? I think somewhere up there.
It was definitely somewhere up there. But like they were on the boat, and then like they did get off the boat because they went on some kind of train or something.
Okay,
I think
so they were on the mainland. Okay, that counts for sure.
Yeah.
So maybe something like that. But yeah, so that's my third. Yeah, I don't remember how many I have. I want to say like upwards of 20, 25.
Oh.
If I'm counting just driving through, because I've done a lot of road tripping. So.
Right.
All right. Well, you guys should let us know, like, you know, email us or put it in the comments, because this is going on YouTube, right? Or TikTok. There might be on TikTok. I don't know. Wherever you can communicate with us, let us know your favorite places that you've been, or like where you want to go, or if you're like, oh, I went there too and it was great, I agree, or like I went there too and it was like not
great.
Me.
Yeah, tell us what to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
Let us know if there's some other places we should add to the list, because obviously we're always down.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for listening to our mini, I put in quotes because this is probably the longest mini episode that we will have in this set of mini episodes. Sorry, Corey.
Apologize.
But yeah, so thanks for listening, and we'll, see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye. Bye.